Is going on YouTube? This is Travis from Chasing Anthems coming at you guys with another reaction video. Now, the band we're going to be checking out today, I'm going to be honest, I don't know a lot. I know they've been around now for 10 plus years, but they really seem to be taking music by storm. And we got to dig a little bit deeper to figure out what is making them tick, what's making them successful. How can I steal whatever special sauce they have and put that into Chasing Anthems so we can be on SNL? And that band is Greta Van Fleet, not Thunberg. Now, whenever I hear Greta, you go to the climate person. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about Greta Van Fleet. These guys were around before she was probably even born. Off that tangent. Anyways, today we're going to be checking out Black Smoke Rising. This is back in 2019, so it's not the newest video, but based on the clicks, it looks like it is one of the more well-known ones. I'll tell you what I know about this group in particular is that there are some haunting similarities to Zeppelin, to some of the 60s, 70s rock bands who really paved the way for so many other groups. And I feel like, I know things come around in 30s, and so maybe we're on their second pass of the 30s, right? It's been close to it's been more than 60 years since the 60s. So maybe we're just on our second wave of that, bringing that back. So anyways, with that being said, we're going to be checking out Black Smoke Rising. Like I said, this was back in 2019, but these dudes are crushing it. I see them on everything as far as my YouTube feed, and they're out there just crushing it. With that being said, if you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the bell to be notified if future videos, like, comment, share, do all that kind of good stuff. Go check out some of my original music, but that is after this video, and I want to hear your comments. I want you guys to fill me in on what makes this group so special, and why is there such just a fanfare for this band? What is the cult following that I need to know about? All right, let's check it out. It's playing the SG, okay. Classic. Come on, who is that? That bass sounds tight. There we go. There we go. All right, that is Greta Van Fleet. Almost want to say Sleet, but it's Fleet. Greta Van Fleet. From my understanding, that name came from an actual person in their town, and they changed the spelling a little bit because it was a little too hard to pronounce. But I don't know the relationship to this person, but that was the one random fact that I know about this band. Let me tell you what I like, and then I'm going to give you some, maybe some of my own just opinions that is more on the constructive side. I think there's a big thing missing in music these days, and I don't know if the 90s really ruined it with the grunge era and almost the attitude of I don't care, but you went from bands who were just all in, and they were living it, and you could feel the energy on stage with the way that they dressed, the swagger, the way that they carried themselves, that it was just palatable. You could feel it, and there was something different, and it almost felt like there was just another level. When they came on stage, it was a different presence, a different swagger. I mean, look at bands like Kiss, right? They full on makeup. Twisted Sister. It goes on. There's a list of just bands that just like they brought this stage persona and personality, and they just created these characters with it. Like it or not, it created this separation. Now, then the 90s come around, and then you have grunge bands that don't care about anything. Now, in some ways, that might have been refreshing, but it almost in some ways is also lazy too, right? Because now they're just like you and I. They're just up there, and why are we, looking up to these individuals? Now, you look at the band like this. These guys are all in from head to toe. They dress the part, they look the part, they act the part, they put on a live performance. There's energy not only in what they're playing, but in what they're contributing as well physically to it. And that's really encouraging, with the exception, I'd say, is the drummer. Now, granted, he's at SNL, and, I would have to look at some of those other examples of live performances. He just seems really tight and really rigid. He might have been extremely nervous. But if you look at a lot more seasoned drummers like a Chad Smith or something where, it's loose. His body is loose. I feel like it wasn't until the very end, and you can almost kind of see it in this image right here, did he actually open up and really contribute physically and musically as much as the other two. I would say the standout person in this group, just once again watching one particular video, would be that bassist. The bassist was all over the map, had some really clean tones, didn't overdo it. A lot of basses overdo it or they underdo it, and I think that there's a sweet spot where a bass can fill in the gap, especially when you only have 3 instrumentalists that are playing, that can fill in gaps that are extremely necessary when you have a guitarist who's playing a rhythm section and a lead section and is going back and forth between it. You have to have a very strong backbone to be able to carry that through. And so I think the bassist, in my opinion, was the standout performer here. Their guitarist, I think he had some good riffs. I think it was sloppy, but I think the sloppiness was intentional. That's kind of that Jimmy Page-ish, go from licks and runs back into, open chord progressions with that overtone in there, or the overdrive in there, to kind of muddy up the water a little bit. It fills in gaps. I get it. You got to hold down a lot when there's only one guitarist and not 2 guitarists playing. The lead singer. Now, I get it. He is going to be, as long as he sings this style, he's going to be, Robert Plant is going to be the go-to. You could probably think of some other examples of people that are going to peg him as that. So as far as being the most original vocalist, obviously not. I actually think I would make the argument that as cool as the high parts are, that's not easy to pull off, and it's not necessarily believable if you're not all in, right? Going high in that falsetto, you really got to believe it, and you really got to portray it in order for the listeners to buy into what you're singing. If you are in an outside of the normal, comfortable range that people are accustomed to listening to, in my opinion. You may not agree with this, and that's okay. But I'm going to make the argument that I think when he went low and he had those deeper tones in his vocals, I actually thought it sounded better than those high, really out of touch tones. I think that's been done. But I think he's also extremely talented and has the range to pull that off. Now, I think the progression of the song was great. I think there was it was well orchestrated. It had, a lot of classic rock, early rock sounds to it, and was really well composed. It had the same vibe. I think if, these guys were back in, the 1960s, 70s, they would have crushed it, or would have been a force to reckon with. But it's amazing that artists and fans now are gravitating towards it. And even if you heard Greta Van Fleet first, and then it made you reach back into some of the other greats that they were inspired by, I mean, it's a win-win for music, in my opinion. But hey, those are some strong opinions, not usually most popular to everybody, but that's just what came to my mind, and I'm curious what comes to your mind when you listen to this group. Hey, with that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are new, please consider subscribing, hit the bell to be notified if future videos, like, comment, share, do all that kind of good stuff. Go check out some of our stuff. Let us know what you think, because I want to hear your feedback as well. We're constantly writing, recording, doing all that good stuff. But until then, I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.